It's
Well,
also
during
on
the,
YouTube. It's on YouTube also.
okay, yeah. I'm going to turn my camera off when you start presenting so people can see you and
Okay.
nobody else. So they don't get distracted because, you know, I'm so beautiful. I don't want them to get distracted.
Yeah, if they'll look at you and not me, that's for sure.
Exactly.
We have 18 so far.
It's gonna be more there later.
Molano, how do you pronounce your name, your first name? JC?
Yeah.
How do you pronounce your name, your first name?
JC.
JC, okay.
Yes.
I didn't know if it was a man or a woman. Adriana is there. "20 participants. I hope the speaker has something good to say because that's a lot of people.
We are counting on that, Mr. Fowler.
When will when will the speakers show up?
In a few minutes. We hope he can be here on time.
I hope so too.
Let's be positive.
Doctora Nasira, buenas. Ya
Buenas.
podemos iniciar.
Ok, gracias. Buenas tardes para todos. Antes de comenzar, les voy a pedir el favor que por favor apaguen sus cámaras y cierren sus micrófonos. Los participantes que tengan la cámara, por favor apaguen sus cámaras y cierren sus micrófonos. Ok, para mí es un placer estar hoy presentando esta conferencia, este webinar, y tenemos un invitado americano, una persona con una vasta experiencia en el campo de la educación. Okay, so good afternoon, everybody. It is a pleasure to have you all here. I am happy to introduce Mr. Fowler. Mr. Fowler is a very important professional who has devoted his life in the educational field, and he has guided many teachers to succeed. So he's a key part of one of the agencies which hired teachers to work in the United States. The ones who had the opportunity to work with Mr. Fowler are very grateful because he shared his experience, his valuable knowledge, and helped us to use the right methodologies and strategies to create a very beneficial teaching and learning environment in the classroom, inside and outside the classroom. So we hope you can enjoy this conference and you can obtain very important information for your future. Welcome, Mr. Fowler.
Thank you, Nazira. You want me to start? Are you finished with that?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
You can go.
Hello, everybody. The topic is teaching in the United States can be a very exciting and profitable experience. Now, the key words are can be. It does not say is, it says it can be. And this is what we call a bit of irony. If I speak too fast, signal, okay? Irony, because no one can come to the United States at this moment. The embassies are closed. There are no flights. So that's why we have to say can be. And we wish that situation would improve, but who knows when. So we're all in a very stressful situation. I hope all of you are well and that you are practicing safety, because the people here are not. School has already started, students are in classes, and that's no good. Now, we want to thank Nazira. She has prepared this presentation by pictures, and she's done an excellent job in the middle of the night. So I didn't do this. I want you to know that she did the photographs and all of that. As she mentioned, I've been working a long time with international teachers. I'll tell you a secret. More than 50 years, if you look at me closely, you'll see the lines in my face, because I've been with international teachers for more than 50 years. First as a language coordinator in Spartanburg, South Carolina, and they came from France on Fulbright scholarships. And secondly, with the organization that she mentioned now, I've been with them about 17 years, and my job has always been to hire, that is to evaluate their applications, to choose them, to evaluate their interviews, and then to observe their classes and offer assistance. So I do know about international teachers, and really teaching in the United States is a wonderful idea. So let's go to the next picture, the next slide. Nazira, you ready? Unmute. Give us the next slide. Give us the next slide. Read my lips. We're ready for the first topic. Okay, while she's working on that, I will continue. In general, learning is a wonderful experience for human beings. Learning is one of the things that is human because it takes an effort. Animals learn by instinct and by rewards, but humans learn with mental changes of behavior. Subconsciously or academically, they learn. And then learning another language is especially rewarding, because when you learn another language, you begin to understand other people, you're more tolerant of them, and you are become a better person yourself. There's one thing I want to leave in your mind, and that is that teaching is the mother of all other professions. Anybody who has a job had to be taught how to do it. So don't forget, you're in a wonderful position a wonderful profession. Now, one other advantage of learning another language is that you yourself develop more skills as you learn another language. You sharpen your listening skills, you improve your speaking skills, your reading and writing get better. So learning another language like you've done is very beneficial. You also develop a better understanding of the entire world. Okay, I'm ready for topic 2. You have a problem still? If it works, we'll catch up. We'll go over it again. Okay, can everybody hear me okay? Say no if you can't hear me. Looks like they
Richard,
can
wait a
hear.
second, please, because Richard, can you hear me?
Yes?
Okay, give me a moment, please, because it seems that I have a little issue here with the presentation. I'm sorry
Okay.
about this.
Okay. There are 32
Can you see
people
my
now.
screen?
Yes, I
Can
can.
you see my screen? Okay.
Yeah. I
So we
see
are on the
the,
second slide.
yeah, I'm only on the first one.
So the one that says learning is one of the greatest characteristics, blah, 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 blah. Sorry
The
about
one
it.
that introduces me. That's the one I'm
So
on.
you are not see.
I don't see the next one.
Okay. Can you see number 1 there?
Nope.
Okay. Okay, can you see that now?
I only see the first one, the very first one.
Well, I don't know what happened. We tried before and everything went okay.
Yeah, it worked before. If you get the first one, you should be able to get the next one.
That is what I thought, but it's not working that way.
Okay, you tell me when you want me to continue.
Okay, maybe I found
There.
this. Okay, can you
Yeah.
see it now?
I see number 1, learning is one of the greatest characteristics of humans, and I already talked about that. So
Okay. You
look
want
at
me to
her
do-
pictures, and
Okay.
then let's go to number 2.
Okie dokie.
There we are. Okay, hang on to that one. Going to the United States as a teacher is attractive and beneficial for many reasons. Now, let me tell all of you something important here. Schools in South Carolina, all over the country, are missing teachers. There's a great teacher shortage. 3 years ago in South Carolina, there were 4,000 classrooms without a teacher. Okay, I heard somebody. Now, what that means is that more and more college graduates are choosing another profession. So our service of finding international teachers is very important. We get a lot of requests. In fact, there are 2 big organizations in South Carolina. I won't mention their names, but those 2 had a total of 700 international teachers last year. So you can see that this is attractive, and also it's attractive because there's a shortage, but also our principals know that an international teacher will represent his culture accurately. And he knows also that he will have accurate pronunciation, shades of meaning that an American would not know. So you see, international teachers are very welcome because they have skills that American teachers do not have. Now, native teachers must, in order to come to the United States, you just don't come. There are three ways you can visit the United States. One is a tourist visa, and you cannot teach with a tourist visa. Another way is to get a J1 visa, and that's what our organization does, and that allows you to teach. In order to get the J1 visa, you have to apply for it and go to the American Embassy. You people would go to Bogota. The third visa is called an H1, H1B, and that allows you to teach, but it's very difficult to obtain because your school district has to try to get it for you. And there are about 40,000 people a year who are trying to get an H1 visa. So it's almost impossible. Okay. Now, I think, let me see, I'm ready. Yeah, I'm ready to go to number 3. Nazira?
Yeah, I'm trying.
Okay. There it is. All right. Here are some of the main advantages. Travel to another country is great. Now, I know from experience, because I've worked in France, I've taken people on tours of Ireland, England, all over Europe, and it has been a wonderful experience for me and for the people that I took. So if a teacher comes to the United States, the first thing that he benefits from is the culture of our country, or for that matter, any country. You learn things you would never learn from a textbook. Also, let me see if I can find it on here. The United States is a huge country, and there's so many different places that can be visited. Nazira and her family went to Washington. They went to, what was it? Memphis? I can't remember. In Tennessee, they went all over to Charleston, South Carolina, Florida. And that's what our teachers do when they have holidays or even weekends. Another advantage is that the teacher who comes to the United States is a part of the community, and so he's going to interact with others, not only students, but with parents. Another big advantage is that he will be meeting with other teachers so that they can collaborate ideas. The purpose of a J1 visa is for the teacher to come and take back after 5 years the things that he has learned to help fellow students and fellow teachers. So that becomes a great advantage for that teacher. When he goes home, he is so much better. He's learned tools for teaching. And finally, well, not finally, I have one more. Your own skill of English is going to improve vastly because you've got to learn to survive in the school. They're going to be speaking English. You've got to learn to survive going to the bank and the grocery store. So your English will improve. I want to give a personal reference. I had a couple of French teachers a long time ago, a man and his wife, and they brought their daughter. She was only 5 years old. When they kept coming back, and by the time she was 18, she was working on her second master's degree. So another advantage of coming to the United States is if you have children and bring those children. Nazira also had a 5-year-old child, and now her daughter speaks English better than me. And she really has benefited from her experience. And by the way, Nazira's daughter was first in her class over all the Americans in her class for a long time. Okay, so to summarize, the advantages here are tourism, working with fellow teachers, learning new teaching experiences and tools to teach, absorbing the culture, becoming aware of how the communities in the United States work. All of those are advantages that you would never get if you didn't come to the United States to teach. Okay, number 4. Here it comes. There. Well, we had a few more advantages. Let me just go over those very fast. On the left, you see a photo of a pioneer settlement. The people who own this settlement are good friends of mine. They have brought these cabins and old school buildings to the location and put them back together. And you see a group of our teachers. They're from Venezuela, Colombia, I think there's somebody in there from Costa Rica, Romania, and I won't mention any more, but they're from all over. And they're in front of an old schoolhouse. And you never know that the United States had these old structures. You learn the history of the United States as well. The second picture is where interaction with other people is important. And Nazira, I can't see the one with you in it. What does it say?
Attending workshops.
Oh yeah. Oh my goodness. Not only can you attend workshops that are offered by our organization, which I usually conduct, but there are many workshops around the country. Foreign language professional organizations are in Atlanta, Washington, Charlotte. The great linguist Stephen Krashen does workshops, and our teachers regularly get money from the school to attend these workshops. Now tell me what the bottom one says. I can't see it. It's a workshop, isn't it?
Yes, it's the same.
Yeah, you see your pictures are in front of my screen. Okay, that is it. Let's go to number 4 on what a teacher has to be aware of. There. Now, in order to benefit from an experience in the United States, there are things that you have to do, and there are things that you must not do after you get here, and that becomes very important. So I want to go over that in case you're interested in application, so you won't be surprised. Let's talk about what to do first. First of all, you've got to be sure your English speaking and understanding skills, and your writing and your reading, because you're going to have to read books and you're going to have to write letters and all kinds of things. So improving your own English skills is very important. Another thing is that you don't just come and have money handed to you. You need to save money for this experience, because your salary might not cover everything you want it to cover. So you need to save some money before you come. Okay, now let me tell you some disadvantages of a native teacher. Would you believe there are disadvantages? There are. First of all, a native teacher is not accustomed to speaking in complete sentences. Neither am I. When you ask a question, you answer, you say, what color is the sky? You say blue. But in order for your students to learn, you've got to say, the sky is blue. So you have to learn to speak in complete sentences. Another problem with the native teacher, including me, is we tend to use a lot of slang. You understand the word slang, everybody? In French, it's argot. I don't know what it is in Spanish.
You also say argot.
Yeah. Okay. Slang is a part of every human being, but you cannot use it when you're teaching in the United States. So you have to learn how to avoid the slang. Another problem of a native teacher is, to me, you speak too fast, way too fast, much too fast. So you have to learn to slow down your speech, practice it with your friends before you come, make sure you use complete sentences, and don't speak too fast or you'll lose your students after you get here. Then finally, you must realize that the way you learned your language, if you're going to teach, now I know most of you are probably training for ESOL and not Spanish, but some of you may be trying for Spanish. I can tell you this, the United States wants more Spanish teachers than they do ESOL. They prefer to have Americans teaching ESOL, and that's crazy to me, but it's true. We haven't placed an ESOL teacher since Jorge was here, Linero. All right, so you must learn to realize that if you learned your language as a child, there are lots of things that you take for granted. Like you use the imperfect tense and you don't even know why. Like you use to for a friend and instead for a teacher or something, and you don't know why, you don't even think about it. There are many examples. I think the worst one is gender. English-speaking people don't have gender for inanimate objects. We have gender for people and animals that are living, but not things. So when you start talking about la mesa, that makes no sense whatsoever to an American learner because he doesn't understand why it's la mesa and la silla and el libro and so forth. So that has to be incorporated in your learning ability. I'm on what not to do, by the way. Okay. The native speaker must realize that American learners have to acquire new language, a second language, whereas their native teacher language was learned subconsciously from the environment. Okay, let me mention a couple of those. You've got to be aware that there are several points of interference between our languages. Romance languages, for example, the pronoun object comes before the verb. It comes after the verb in English. And you don't want to explain that because if you explain that, the kids will turn off. They don't like that. Gender, I mentioned. Position of adjectives. You put your adjectives after the noun. Americans put their adjectives before the noun. And the way you handle these things is by complete sentences in which you use those examples. Pronunciation is another item that is different. You have a double L, and like in amarillo, we don't have that in English. We do have a few of the ends with the, what do you call it, a tilde. like in the word canyon, onion, but we don't put a mark, a tilde over the top. We don't have silent J's like you do, like in Jorge, or we don't have silent G's like in helado. So those things have to be taken into consideration. In interrogatives and negatives in English, you have to have helping verbs like, do you speak French? But in your language, you wouldn't have that helping verb. Another item would be negatives. We have to have the word not. We have to say, I do not like this. Whereas you can just say no, and you've got the negative. Okay. Possessives are different in English because if you say his book, you know you're talking about a boy or a man. If you say her book, you're talking about a woman. But in your language, the thing possessed determines the gender, especially in French. French is worse than Spanish. Okay, I'm ready for the fifth one. International teachers must be aware of expectations. There we go. Now, let me explain something to you. If you think that coming to the United States to teach Spanish is a matter of bringing a textbook and going through chapters in the textbook, no, 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 no. We have foreign language teachers, and then we have foreign language teachers who are not teachers. They think they are teachers because most teachers think that teaching is telling what they know or explaining. That's not teaching. Teaching is guiding learners to their own awareness of learning. You don't explain it, you guide them. A teacher is an instrument of guided discovery. That is a real definition of a teacher. I can tell you that I learned the old-fashioned way. I had the highest grade in the French class, and then suddenly my father was military and he brought us to France. And the first thing I found out was I couldn't speak French. I couldn't understand it. And yet I had the highest grade in the class. When the conductor on the train spoke to me, he said, you speak French, vous parlez français? And I said, oui, bien sûr. And then he said, okay, mettez-le, blah, 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 telling me instruction. And I said, I don't understand a word you're saying. He said, I thought you spoke French. I said, listen to me. Lundi, mardi, mercredi, jeudi. He said, that's not speaking, that's not communication. And I can tell you this, that was the moment that I knew I wanted to be a French teacher. As I told you before, I was a coordinator for many, many years, but I also insisted on teaching 2 classes of French, and I liked that better than being a foreign language coordinator because I was seeing children learn. So I want to tell you another expectation that you must be aware of. Teachers in the United States are governed by their state departments of education. And there are 50 states, so we have 50 different state departments of education. But every one of those insists on standards for teaching every subject. So foreign language has standards. Now, I could read that list to you and we'd be here all night. I can summarize it in 2 words: communication and culture. Those are the 2 main standards. To be able to use the language to express yourself, communicate with others, understand others, speak to them, write, and read. All of those are communication skills. And then, of course, the other standard deals with learning knowledge of another culture, because Americans were for many years very isolated and they knew nothing about other cultures. Now with television and with our international teachers, we're achieving that standard to become better world citizens. Now, the teacher who comes to the United States must also be aware of some differences in schools from the schools that you're accustomed to. I'm going to run through these very quickly. Dress codes. You may dress differently there because it's so hot, but teachers in the United States, men are expected to wear decent clothes. Women are supposed to wear not provocative clothes. Student behavior may be different. Students in the United States are often spoiled, and you have to know how to deal with that. You have to know how to motivate them. Another issue of visiting the United States is that there are many, many different accents. I'm speaking to you with a purely South Carolina Southern accent. I don't know if you notice, but it's much different, for example, from a New York accent. So you got to be aware of those. Watch a lot of television before you come, and you will learn the accents. Look at John Wayne, for example, and you'll get a good, even though he was from the North, he learned a Southern accent. You cannot touch students in the United States. No touching, not even hugging, no hugging. Or they will accuse you of something that you didn't mean, or they could. If a student comes to a teacher's room, the door must remain open, or you might get an accusation. You must demand that the students address you with respect. I had a Costa Rican teacher who told his students here that they could call him by his first name. We don't allow that. They have to use the correct address, which would be Senora, Senorita, or Senor, or if you prefer, Mr., Miss, Mrs. Another thing that you have to learn to deal with is the attitudes of the parents. You must be able to prove to a parent why a student received a certain grade. And if he will come, he'll say, what did he do that made him get this low grade? So my advice there is the teacher must have a lot of grades and be very careful to understand the skills of that student and the grades that he has made in your assessments. Now, there's some other things that don't deal with school, except you must know all the school rules. Before you even start school, you got to know what to do if they use alcohol in the class, or profanity, or they hit someone, there's a fight. Those policies are usually determined by the district, and you must learn those before you start teaching. Now, here are a few of the things that you have to learn about the United States. There's a different climate than what you're accustomed to. We're not close to the equator. There are, South Carolina, for example, is in what's called the Bible Belt. So you don't want to say anything about religion in your class. You don't want to say anything about politics. You want to be aware that some of them have problems at home. They don't know who their father is. You've got to be aware of these things. And finally, listen, don't promise them anything. We've had teachers make a lot of mistakes by saying, oh, we're going to have such fun. No, you don't want to tell them they're going to have fun. You just want to tell them that you're a teacher, that's your job, and they're going to succeed and love it, but not to have fun. You must enforce all your rules, and you must be aware of the students. Okay, I think I'm ready for the last one. How to get prepared, number 6. Okay, I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't tell you that you must go to the United States with proper preparation. You'll notice that she has made a slide of Bloom's taxonomy. Probably some of you are familiar with this, but if you look at the bottom one, I can't see it, but it's memorization. And memorization is not a really tough skill. So that's the one you want to avoid. You must lead them to be able to create, which is the highest skill. And the activities that I have in my manual show you how to go through each of these thinking skill ideas of Dr. Bloom. You must also learn, I think we're ready for the next one, Nazira. The next slide, yeah. The natural method of teaching. Now, the natural method, simply put, is to learn another language in the same manner that you learned your own. And the way you learned your own language was from the environment, your parents, your relatives who visited you, and they didn't hand you a textbook and say, now listen, I'm going to explain to you how to learn. You learned subconsciously. So that means you were conditioned through successful expression to communicate. So we use the natural method in learning a second language. That means that communication is learned, as I said, subconsciously. What you avoid are these issues. Translation, no good. Conjugation of verbs, not good. Grammar explanations, you don't learn to communicate that way. Memorization of vocabulary, no. So there are ways to do this. I've outlined it in a manual, and they are effective. And I can tell you this, the teachers that I have trained and who use the natural method are the ones who have had success. For example, our teachers in Spartanburg that I train who are not international, well, yes, a lot of them are, a lot of them from France. We would get letters from colleges saying, how on earth did you prepare these students so well? They speak the language better than anyone in our classes, and they automatically go to a higher level. So if you teach this way, you're saving the parents money and they're getting credits without having to take them in a class. So that's why the natural method is so important. And this is the last thing I'm going to say, except, can you see my eye? No, you can't see it. It's half brown and half blue. That's because I have a Cherokee great-grandmother. I just wanted to wake you up. I know some of you are sleeping. Okay. The final thing I want to say is language skills, communication skills must be learned in the proper order. You don't hand them a textbook first because they're going to have to read. You don't give them explanations. You don't give them pen and paper to write stuff. So the correct order of learning language skills, as you probably know, are understanding first, listening comprehension, then learning to speak by answering questions, then learning to write what you have spoken, symbolization, and finally, reading what you wrote and expanding reading. Now, that is the key to success, and that will help you benefit from the language experience in the United States if you follow those ideas. All right, I think I have covered everything I'm going to cover. I think we have some testimonials that Nazira is going to show you now. Thank you for listening, and I hope this was beneficial to you.
Thank you very much, Richard. Okay, before the testimonials, we want to know if you have some questions, so you are free to ask questions to Mr. Fowler. Before your questions, I want to, me gustaría decir que tenemos la presencia del vicerrector académico, ¿sí? Doctor Danilo Hernández, tenemos la presencia del decano de Ciencias de la Educación, doctor Edinson Hurtado, y también tenemos la presencia del doctor Luis Alarcón, decano de Ciencias Humanas.
Buenas tardes. Un saludo cordial a nombre de las autoridades de la universidad. Un abrazo para Richard. Muchísimas gracias por acompañarnos en esta tarde, por compartirnos tantas cosas importantes de su experiencia desarrollada durante muchos años. Teníamos a nuestro rector por aquí, que es una persona muy interesada en todos estos temas de internacionalización de la universidad y del trabajo de los profesores. También estaban nuestro vicerrector académico y estaban nuestro decano de Ciencias de la Educación y decano de Ciencias Humanas, que es un grupo de académicos. A pesar de que tienen esas posiciones de administrativas, siempre se comportan como un grupo de académicos que están apoyando en todo esto. Pues se tuvieron que retirar porque tienen otras obligaciones, pero dejan un saludo muy especial a todos y un agradecimiento muy grande a Richard por compartir con nosotros su experiencia y conocimiento. So Richard, on behalf of our academic authorities, thank you very much. Thank you for sharing with us your wonderful experience. Thank you. Nazira.
You're very welcome. You have 75 people there.
Wonderful.
Nazira.
Okay, well, now we go with the testimonials. Okay, son testimonios que algunos colegas me enviaron. Yo les solicité que me enviaran algunas palabras significativas sobre su experiencia trabajando no solo en Estados Unidos, algunos de ellos han tenido la experiencia en otros países como Francia. Entonces, creo que para ustedes también es muy bueno que se informen las experiencias que han tenido otros profesores trabajando en estos lugares. Aquí pueden leerlo, pues la experiencia de Jorge Linero, quien se graduó de este programa de la licenciatura de lenguas extranjeras en el año 2008 y trabajó en Carolina del Sur. También fue entrenado por el señor Fowler.
He was paid very well to be a football coach for the girls.
Yes, he was teaching ESL because his English was very good, or is very good anyway. So,
Yeah.
and he had the chance to be the coach for these female and male soccer teams.
And he made extra money after school.
That's very important, Richard. Good, you said that. Adriana Álvarez es otra compañera que también tuvo la oportunidad de ser pupila de Richard y trabajó también en los Estados Unidos. Actualmente también es profesora de la Universidad del Atlántico. Se graduó en el 2004 de la licenciatura.
You see, she learned a lot of English. She learned a lot of English. Reinvent, that's good.
Okay, we have Giselle García. She graduated in 2008. Se graduó en el 2008 de la licenciatura. También fue pupila de Richard, o es actualmente, porque todavía está trabajando en la misma organización que Richard trabaja. Y tuvo la oportunidad de graduarse recientemente. Hizo una maestría en educación en los Estados Unidos. Otra de las posibilidades que pueden tener los profesores al trabajar en estos países. Seguir estudiando. Yanixa Guerrero, quien trabaja actualmente en Carolina del Sur, también en uno de estos programas de intercambio de profesores, y egresada de la Universidad del Atlántico en el 1998. Este es un poco de mi experiencia, como les comenté anteriormente, no solo en Estados Unidos, también se ofrecen estas plazas en muchos países de habla inglesa. Entonces también tuve la oportunidad de trabajar en Trinidad y Tobago. Me gradué en 1994, el año pasado.
Nazira,
Yes, sir.
the teacher that replaced you received the virus.
Oh, God.
But she's better now and she's going to teach remotely, virtually.
Well, it's good to hear that.
Yeah.
Okay, this is another student from Universidad del Atlántico, Dili Mosquera. Actualmente está trabajando en los Estados Unidos, en Carolina del Sur, y también pupila de Richard.
Are you speaking to me?
No, I'm telling them about the
Dilly.
teachers who were your students during the training course.
Yeah, Dilly was good. Dilly did a presentation to the other teachers of how to teach culture, how to form Spanish clubs, and she did a very good job. She has started a Spanish club in her school and taken them out into the community to use their Spanish and to learn more.
Yes, there is another thing that we have to mention. When we are having this opportunity to work in the United States, our experience during workshops. Numas Hill, profesor de la Universidad del Atlántico actualmente y tuvo la experiencia en Francia. Se graduó en el 2010.
Pretty good French.
Yes, he's a French teacher. Gladys de la Hoz, actualmente profesora de la Universidad del Atlántico, sede Swan, se graduó en el 2015 y recién graduada viajó a Francia también para tener esta experiencia. Entonces, todos estos profesores que muy amablemente nos compartieron su testimonio, todos dan fe de lo beneficioso que fue para ellos y lo enriquecedor que fue para su vida profesional. Y algo muy motivante para siempre seguir adelante, ¿verdad? En nuestra profesión. Aprender en otros lugares, compartir de lo nuestro y de la misma manera asimilar de las otras culturas para cuando regresamos a nuestros países poder tener más conocimiento sobre el manejo de la lengua que estamos enseñando a nuestros estudiantes acá en nuestro país. Bueno, llegó el momento de las preguntas. Mr. Fowler is open to answer your questions. Okay, Mario Molina. Mario, you can open your microphone.
Yeah, and I think I can also turn off my camera. Can you see me now?
Yes, I see
do.
you.
All right, perfect. Well, I don't really have a question, but I do have a testimonial because I was also a teacher in the United States. I went to Universidad del Atlántico, and I know many of these people, wonderful people you were talking about just a few minutes ago. And some of them were my classmates, actually. And we were together in the United States also, you know, because we were there at the same time. I graduated in 2007, and then I went to the US in 2008. And I was there from 2008 to 2013. And it wasn't fantastic, you know, like ever since I was a little boy, I wanted to go to the US because my family were immigrants. So it was my dream, you know. I would see the pictures or the videos they would send. So when I had the chance to go to the US, that really changed my life because I felt like I was touching the sky with my hands, literally, you know. I was given a position as an ESL teacher in middle school, and I was there for 5 years. Unfortunately, it was at the time of the recession, 2008, 2013. So the money part was not really good, you know. I cannot say that I went to the US to make good money, but I obtained so much experience, and I also did my master's, you know, there. And after having the experience in the US, so many doors opened to me in Colombia because I wanted to come back to Colombia. Currently, I do not live in Barranquilla. I live in Bogota, and I teach here in a private university. And I can say that I've had a successful career so far. And I thank this opportunity of being a teacher in the US because I learned so many things about the culture. I improved my language skills, and my life just changed after that. So I wanted to thank you for giving this wonderful talk about the experience, because we do need many more young people to have the motivation to go to the US and change their lives as well. So thank you. Just wanted to say that.
Thank you, Mario. Thank you very much for your testimonial. So
Someone had a question about the process. Is she still there? I couldn't get all the question. It was written.
well, I don't see any question in the chat here.
Armando had a question.
Okay, so
Armando, are you in the room, please? Would you like to repeat the questions you wrote for the audience, please?
Hi, I'm here, yes. I would like to know how is the process to apply? I mean, how I can go there? What are the minimal requirements? That's my question. Thank you.
Okay. I will be very brief because this can be complicated. The first thing you have to do is go to a website where the applications are. And the name of our organization is FACES. So you don't have to go to FACES. You can go to Teaching in the United States, and you'll come up with some applications. It's a good idea to apply to more than one. Now, in order to qualify, you have to send your academic record, and you have to send letters of recommendation, and you have to send your driving license and passport photos on your application. That's the main process. Now, we receive those applications, and of course, a teacher has to be certifiable. He has to be able to be certified. And so he can't major in, let's say, biology and expect to speak, to teach Spanish. So we evaluate the interview we have with the teacher, and we evaluate the application. As soon as everything is there that's supposed to be there, we put it on our website for districts to observe. They are welcome to phone or Zoom the candidate or Skype. And then if they want to invite the teacher, they send us a letter. Then we ask the teacher if they want to accept the invitation. And then, of course, they can look up that school district on a website. And when they say yes, the organization sends them the visa application documents. And then they have to go to an American embassy and make an application. In all of your cases, it would be to Bogota and to the American embassies, which are now closed, by the way. And we hope they will be able to open soon. We also hope that there is a temporary restraint on J1 teachers. They're not letting any J1 teachers in the country right now. And my organization is not trying to place anybody until second semester, which begins in January. But we still invite anybody who wants to apply, because if your application is good, we can then hold it until we do have the opportunity to submit this to school districts. Okay?
Thank you, Rick. Okay, Giselle Garcia has another question. Giselle, you can open your microphone.
I was just saying that if somebody wants to ask, like us, people who are here, any question, I'm also available to answer.
Okay, but tell them where you are and what you're doing there.
Okay, wait. Let me start my video.
There you are.
Hi, Richard.
Hello, Isa. And by the way, before she begins, she was able to get her master's degree here.
Yes. I graduated virtually in May because of the pandemic situation. But yeah, I got my master's now. Well, I am in South Carolina. I'm teaching in Spartanburg District 5. This is my third year, and this is the second time I come to the United States. It's good. I mean, it's really good for me because I get to practice, of course, my English, and the education system. You know, it's very different from the Colombian system. So you get to understand like how all of these things work. Something that I like about teaching in South Carolina and in United States is that we have a lot of resources and they are all available for teachers. So for example, we have smart boards in every classroom. We can make copies of everything we need to. We got books. Our students, they have Chromebooks, laptops. So it's really easy to teach here, and it's been like a very good experience. Now, it is different from teaching in Colombia, of course. Like Mr. Fowler mentioned, sometimes we have like discipline issues, but we need to be consistent with what we are told about the culture and every situation we encounter, and we may have a successful teaching experience here.
And Giselle, how has your experience benefited your family?
Okay, that's another thing. I'm here with my 2 children and my husband. My husband didn't speak any English when we first came. Now he understands a lot and he can, he goes and do groceries and go to so many places by himself. Now, my children, as you all know, they can learn the language a lot like easier from, adults. And then my son, he's 10 now, and he speaks very fluently. And he's also an A straight student. It means he is always getting, the how do you call them? A roll,
Honor roll.
honor
Honor roll.
roll certificates. Yes, he's a very good student. And then my daughter, she's 4. She's learning both languages at the same time, so it is good for them as well.
Okay, thank you very much, Giselle, for your
Can
comments.
we mention, Giselle, do you mind if we mention that your husband can get a job?
Yes,
Because
it's also very important. He works for an American company. He has worked here for example, Continental Tires, which is a very big company here. And in the area where we live, we have a lot of companies like BMW and some other car companies, and they hire a lot of people here.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. So I can give the opportunity to anybody else to ask questions to Mr. Fowler or share the comments about these experiences. Okay, I cannot see the participants who raised their hand, but if you can open your microphone and ask the question directly or say what you want to say, would be okay.
Okay, hello. Can you hear me?
Hello. Yes, we do.
Okay, so my name is Ivan, and I have a question for Mr. Fowler. So my question is basically, should we apply, or is it more suitable to apply before we finish our career or after we finish our career?
Let me see if I understand. You said, do you make application before, and I didn't hear the rest.
I said before I finish my career as a teacher, or after?
Yeah. After, because in order to apply and be considered, you must have 2 years of actual teaching experience in your country. And that does not mean, what do you call it? Intern, where you're in college and you do practice teaching. You must have 2 years on a regular job before you can apply for a J-1 visa. The purpose of a J-1 visa is controlled by the United States State Department, and it is an exchange program, which means that the teacher is expected to come with a former job. So that answers your question. And then after his experience, or her, that teacher is supposed to go back to their country, and share what they've learned and become better teachers in the process. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, when he said regular job is teaching experience, you must have 2-year experience teaching in your country or somewhere else before applying to go there and work as a teacher.
Okay, understood. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. So, Profesor Abraham va a cerrar la conferencia, o tenemos un poco más de tiempo para otra pregunta.
Yo creo que sí, si alguien tiene otra pregunta, podría, o alguna intervención, podría hacerlo, por favor.
Well, hello. I guess
Hello,
everybody knows
Mercedes.
me. Well, I just wanna reinforce what just Richard said, and what you and Giselle said, because it's a great experience once you come from teaching in the United States. It's not like you have like many doors open. It's how you have grown professionally and personally. You will be a better teacher. You will be a better person. And if you have the chance to do it, don't think about it twice. Just go ahead and do it, because that's the way that you can prepare for any other experience. I mean, you will be like an immersion, total immersion. And if you have a family, well, your family will always benefit from that. It's like you can take them with you, or in other cases you can like help them from the distance with some money, or extra help, not always money that you send to your family, but a lot of supports and things like that. So if you have the chance, just go ahead and do it. They offer a lot of opportunities. You can travel around the country. You can study. You can attend different workshops. You can meet people from all over the world. That experience, people, is just priceless. Thank you.
Okay, Mercedes.
Mercedes.
Yes. Hi, Richard. How you doing?
I'm okay, but it seems I'm getting older for some reason. I don't know why. But when I visited your school, they told me there that they missed you very much.
Oh,
I thought you might
okay,
want to know that.
When you go there, just tell them that, okay, I said hello to them. Just say hello to them from me. That would be nice. And yes, they called me the other day and they said that if I wanted to go back, but in this moment I can't, for real. But anyway,
well,
the door is
good.
still open.
Okay, thank you very much, Mercedes. We have a student. He wants to ask a question. So he wants to ask the question in Spanish. So I will have to translate to you, Richard. So Juan Correa. Hola, Juan.
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Hello.
Hello.
Profe, yo le quiero preguntar. Y el señor habla algo de español o en qué trabaja él. Por lo que he estado escuchando, bueno, el internet no me ayuda mucho, pero que están hablando de intercambios y las posibilidades o las aperturas que eso le da a uno en el trabajo.
Sí, pero ¿cuál es tu pregunta concreta, Juan?
Que si él tiene una compañía que pueda ayudar a uno a lo que ya pregunté.
Anteriormente, pues sí, él mencionó que la compañía es de él, pero trabaja en esa compañía entrenando a profesores para ser profesores en escuelas públicas de los Estados Unidos, especialmente a los profesores de idiomas. Entonces, él comunicó que primero hay que aplicar en línea, ¿sí?, a cualquiera de estas agencias, y ahí cada agencia tiene su procedimiento para contratar a los profesores y colocarlos en las respectivas plazas. Okay?
Nazira, I noticed that someone asked about the age limit. I can answer that question.
Okay, go ahead, Richard.
We have teachers now that are almost 60 years old, but we don't encourage people to apply over 55 too often, because we know the school district is going to choose a younger person. It's not up to us, but experience counts, and we do have some that are almost 60 years old. So it's not against the rule, but it is a consideration. Okay, and someone asked another question. I tried to see it. Yeah, I said that. The experience that you have as we call it, intern, does not count. Someone asked something else. Gina?
Gina got sad because you said about the age.
Okay.
Hi, but I think it's also important to say that we are paid for years of experience and of course also our studies. So if you have a master's degree, if you have a PhD, you can also be like well paid. And if you have like 15 years of experience, that also counts.
Yes, that's right. Thank you, Giselle. So anyway, you can go and enter any district school website and you can find the pay scale and you can see how much you will be paid according to your experience, right? How many years of experience you have and the money you are going to receive for that experience.
Yes, Sarah asked a question. Our organization is called Faces, like your faces. She's giving you, Mercedes is giving you the website, facesinc.org, and that has the application. And I want to tell you something. Our organization is the only one that provides foreign language assistance.
Yes, but let me tell you something. Yeah, Richard has a lot of experience working for Faces, but the intention of this webinar is not to publicize Faces, but of course he works there. But the intention is to motivate you. If you are presented or are offered this opportunity, please take it because it's very good and you're going to enrich yourself professionally. Okay, I believe the time is over now. So thank you, Mr. Fowler, for your participation and for all your knowledge, the one you share now.
Send me some empanadas.
I will. So, well, Giselle is closer to you. Giselle can send empanadas to you. A toda la audiencia, muchísimas gracias por su atención, por su presencia y esperamos que hayan tenido información valiosa para ustedes.
Thank you very much, Richard. On behalf of our institution and our colleagues, thank you very much. You've been helping Uniatlántico teachers for a long time. So you are a very good friend of our institution. Thank you very much. This is your home also.
Thank you.
My apologies because I didn't have the time to connect with you before. I had some electricity problems at home, but it's wonderful to have you here. Thank you.
By the way, did we record this at all? Was it recorded?
Yes, I did, Mr. Fowler.
Yes.
Okay,
gracias a toda la audiencia también. Thank you, Richard. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Abraham.
Thank you.